Bobby Bones.
Brothers and sisters.
First of all, I've met you like 4 times, but I was like a kid, and I've always said this about you. You've been the kindest superstar I've ever met.
Thank you.
At times when you just absolutely didn't have to be. Because I was just an idiot radio DJ. Not that I'm not now, I'm just a little older. But you were always the kindest person to me. I would go to Aerosmith shows, and so I'm just grateful that you've always been so nice to me.
Well, you know, it's nice to be nice to the nice.
Are you a nice guy, or do you play it well?
Probably a little bit of both. You know, I got my ups and downs, definitely, character defects, but all in all, I'm just so grateful to have 40 years of Aerosmith under my belt and just to make music. So, you know, every day is like a thank you, God moment. So I think definitely after getting sober, so to speak, you become a little bit nicer and grateful for all the gifts you got. Because everything we got is nothing but a gift. You know that.
I'm learning that. Whenever we heard you were doing a country album, and I think me, like everyone else, was like, wonder what this is about.
Yeah.
Like, really, we all were like,
Yeah.
why in the world is Steven Tyler taking his foot and putting it in the country water?
Probably for 2 reasons. One, I did a song with Taylor Rhodes, this guy, a couple years ago. And the lyrics were, there was a time when I was so broken-hearted, love wasn't much of a friend of mine.
Very familiar
now,
with
come
it.
on. It's all country.
The tables have turned. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the tables have turned. And I could have, put all the twang on it. I could have countryed it out. But I didn't. And a bunch of songs Aerosmith's written, I kind of laid that over it because I grew up with the Everly Brothers, Janis Joplin. I grew up with all that country music under my belt. When I was 9, I ran a wire from my cabin. I grew up in New England, New Hampshire. No one around me for a mile. I had 500 acres of land I could play on and BB gun and slingshot. And so I ran a wire up to my favorite climbing tree at night, and I picked up a radio station called Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was called Whoa Whoa. And I heard all kinds of stuff like, in 1814, we took a little trip along the current, and the B-side, which was All for the Love of a Girl, Johnny Horton, and a ton of country, and the Everly Brothers I grew up on. So those harmonies are thick in Aerosmith songs. If you listen close, I like to have the harmonies straight up. And so it was just a shoo-in. It wasn't necessarily me stepping into some cowboy boot. It just was a natural for me. And I'm not come down, wear a cowboy hat and yodel on the song. I think that's funny. I'm not trying to redo Octopus's Garden either with a banjo. But, I mean, look these are kind of things you gotta look out for, man. You don't want to, I've stepped in it before. I know better. I'm writing with a bunch of people not to come in and push around and write a country record. I'm going to write whatever comes out of me plus them,
When you look back at your career, what do you think the biggest mistake is that you have made? I mean, and you are a superstar. I mean, you're as high as it gets. I mean, it's like McCartney, Elton John, Steven Tyler. I mean, that's that class, of superstar.
Yeah.
When you look back, what's the biggest mistake that you've made in your professional career?
Biggest mistake
Biggest
I made?
mistake.
If you scratch it, it may get infected. I don't know what mistake I've made. I've had so many of them. So many scars that when I come in at the end, I will be dragging my sorry ass and going, woo! What a ride.
Let me ask you this question, because you've been around Nashville for a while now.
Yeah.
Have you been living here?
Yes, I live in, I do.
Okay, so when you go to church on the weekends, from what I know, you go to a black church, so you can go and actually enjoy the sermon, so white people don't mess with you. Like, hey, Steven Tyler, get the picture. Is that true or false?
No, that ain't even the reason. It's because of the singing there.
Because I went to a black church growing up.
I walk in the door, I usually say, I didn't come here to find God. I brought him or her with me. Because I live in Maui, and sometimes it's, oh my goddess, not just oh my God. And that's a profound statement, which we shouldn't get into here because it'd be an hour's worth of yakking. But I walk in there and I can't stop crying. The music, the gospel, the words, what's written up, what the guy speaks about. It's wonderful. What church is that? Temple Church.
No, you're going to tell everybody, and they're all going to
That's
show
all
up.
right. I don't go there because, listen, you know what the truth is that, beautiful people don't bug people like me. They don't bug McCartney or anybody if they're, The truth is, you shouldn't stick around anywhere long enough. You got to get in and get out.
Yeah, I grew up in a Southern Baptist church.
Yeah.
But we weren't against dancing. It was a weird Southern Baptist church because you could go, and for me, I grew up. I didn't have a good childhood. I didn't have a dad that was around. Mom had issues, so I spent a lot of time in church just staying out of trouble. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in church growing up.
When you can evoke the spirits, that's what I do for a living. I get out on stage and do Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way, and people are losing their mind. We play for these places that used to be festival. Now they call it festival seating because you can sell more seats and get more money. No one ever sits in an Aerosmith concert, so I evoke the spirits. It's what we do. Unfortunately, along the way, I drank too many spirits instead of evoking.
I think you got a text from anybody cool?
Yeah, Pamela Anderson.
No, you're lying.
She wants her implants back.
Damn! Stop it.
All right.
Stop it. Whenever you're playing shows,
Yeah.
what is the most requested Aerosmith song that everybody wants to hear at this point?
Oh God, what Walk This Way or Dream On or it's. Fortunately, we have enough. Listen, every day I wake up, I can't believe I turn the radio on and hear Aerosmith still. You know that, I know that. Why is that? There's no one around anymore like the old days that's playing that and forcing people. Album-oriented radio, that doesn't exist anymore. And we never had hits in the old days. Sweet Emotion was played on a format that everybody listened to. BCN, it was all the great album cuts. It was people played stuff off albums. And I turn the radio on and I hear, take me back to South Tallahassee. Now they're going to hear, whoa, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends don't get Porsches. It's not what time. Like we just did a Joplin song. It's like, she was the one I got into this for. Janis Joplin.
Steven Tyler's here. Wait, okay, let's do this. Let's play this game.
Yeah.
I'll give you a decade, and you name like somebody from that decade that in your mind.
I'm
blew you
ADD,
away.
man. Don't
All right,
do
that's
that.
great. Let's do the 70s. Who pops in your head when I go in the 1970s? Like
Wow.
one of the greatest artists you've been able to see.
Aerosmith, AC/DC, Queen. I mean,
All right, 80s. Wait, did you ever meet Freddie Mercury?
I did. We toured with them.
So that's Queen's
They
lead
opened
singer.
up for us.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Queen opened up for you guys?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was he like?
Just quiet guy. I remember back then, even AC/DC, I didn't pay much attention to
Was
our
that
opening act.
like Brian Johnson, Bon Scott?
Bon Scott, man.
So the early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We rode in the bus together. They were in the back, we were in the front, and I didn't really befriend them. I was too busy up in front snorting coke and, yakking it up and drinking Jack. And great bunch of guys, though. Learned a whole lot from them.
80s
I don't remember the 80s.
at all.
At all. 80s, rehab for me. It's when I got sober.
90s?
Ooh, our resurgence. That's when we hit hard again.
Whenever you guys did Armageddon and Don't Want to Miss a Thing came out, was that like one of the first number ones like on pop radio you guys had?
Not first. Now, I did an interview and they went, what's your first number one? I said, I don't know, Sweet Emotion, Walk This Way. I thought they were. Not. Absolutely not. Wrong. I mean, I got a phone call from, who's the producer of that? Jerry Bruckheimer. First cell phones, right? I'm walking to my barn, and he calls me and goes, hey, Steven, we need some Aerosmith songs for a movie. And I was over the moon. I said, like what? And call dropped. That was the beginning of the end. So that's my kind of life. That's Murphy's Law, right?
What can go wrong will go.
Oh, yeah. But so I don't believe that anymore. I just know about, everything that can go right. Jerry Bruckheimer in the song, he goes, we want 4 or 5 Aerosmith songs. I go, okay. How big is the movie? He goes, huge. What's his name? Bruce Willis and
Ben
Owen.
Affleck.
Oh, and by the way,
And your daughter.
Liv Tyler. And I went, what? It was, you see what I mean?
Right.
Again, all too magical. So Liv's in the movie. The song happens. They asked me to do a song. Next thing you know, it's just great. And then the video comes out, right? And instead of Bruce Willis, where Liv is going, he's going, I'm staying on the asteroid. She's got to get blown up or the Earth is doomed, and I'm the one to do it. Right? So for my video, put me on the screen. And she reaches up for Daddy. And, that was beyond significant because, when she was growing up, I wasn't there for a while. I was touring and doing my thing.
Back on the road to do the album stuff?
I'm going to do some stuff, yeah, but I think next year is a full-on Aerosmith.
So are you guys still together?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
are you kidding?
But do you guys hate each other?
Of course.
Okay.
No,
Like
we
love
don't.
hate?
It's just that, you go through so much that all that stuff turns into love. It's a weird way of saying that you got, I wouldn't be nothing without them. I would be nothing without Joe Perry. I was in all these bands and I was looking for a brother. I was looking for a brother to bounce my itchay off hay, right? I was looking for the Mick and Keith. I was looking for because back then bands that made it had brothers. Remember the Kinks? There's so that worked, and I needed a brother. All the bands I'd been in, I never had that dynamic. Then what we needed, place to live together, apartment together. We lived together. So now I got a brother, live together, songs came. Build it, they will come.
You guys have been together 40 years.
Yeah.
Do you ever talk to each other when you're not working now, since it is that? Because on the show, we're together all day, so we don't really talk that much outside of the show anymore because we spend 5 hours together. You spent 40 years with Joe. Do you guys ever just text and be like, hey, what up? Or you
Every
good?
now and then, yeah. But we're not. We're off tour for 5 months, and another one's planned.
Do you prompter it so you don't forget the words because you have
hell
so
yeah.
many? Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what it's like sitting there, even singing "Dream On," and some girl lifts up her shirt in the middle of the second verse, which it's like, come on. Someone takes their wooden leg off and holds it up with a rose in it. And this stuff happens day in and day out. It's like insane. So I get, I'll look at someone and make contact like we've been talking, because that's the kind of guy I am. I make contact. I look into people's eyes when I talk. I just do. And you see someone in the audience and my mind races. And I'm singing a song that's evoking my childhood as I'm standing there. Because whatever you wrote in 71, 73, 75, the girls you were making love to and visiting their parents' house and the places you played at, it's all going through your mind. Where I was when I wrote the lyrics.
I appreciate you coming by.
Oh, man.
Liked the song.
I got a funny feeling after this record, we're going to be really good friends. I can't tell you why, but I've done a lot of albums. And I remember doing Pump with Brad. I'm sitting there with the band, and I went, oh, shit, another record and another, because we always overwrite. We got to write 18 songs if they need 12. How am I going to do that? And Brad leads in and goes, what's the problem? You did all the rest. Just put one foot in front of the next. So I started doing that 4 months ago down here, and I can't tell you. I got a house in Belmead with a mother fox in the back with 6 pups. Every morning, I got a backyard, lawn, beautiful. It's just, thank you, God. Now, did I wake up one morning with a tick walking from that ear over to my nose? Yes. But that's okay. Turkey vultures in the backyard trying to get my dogs. And it's just a hoot, man. I love it down here. And by the way, there's another secret. This town, you know it. It's nothing but music. And there's a form of God that's so huge that lives in music. Because out of the notes comes life, things to live by. You live your whole life singing a band's songs, and it's magic.
Have
This
you always been
town-
spiritual, or is this a late thing for you?
And it ain't just this. It's not just me. As I say, this happened in Boston in 71. This happened in Greenwich Village in 61, in 50s, 60s. Happened with jazz in the early 50s. Happened in San Francisco in 71. But there's a few places, if you go back in time, it's here. It's been here for a long time. Ridiculous. And when you know it and see it and feel it and sit down and start writing with these folks, wow, does it come out? Does the sun come out? Then you got to go to that church. Wow.
We need to go.
And you know what? You're going to hear it in that song.
All right, Steven Tyler. Hey, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
I'm really happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
Hope you can handle the energy, because it ain't over yet.
All right, Steven Tyler, everybody.
Yeah.
And we'll be back
Yeah.
here on the Bobby Bones Show.
Yeah,
One more
baby.
time.